afternoon. I was drinking margarita at 12 p.m. and I was like,
She looked amazing on paper, right? She had 1 million followers. We paid her. We got nothing. Nothing. Oh, so are they going to post on their social media? Are they going to do this? And I'll be like, no.
Right, so our topic for today, we're going to dive into something I know Marie is very passionate about because I know you get a lot. What is the actual difference between influencers and UGC creators?
Yes, I love this topic and I'm very passionate about it because in my calls, the line that I start, well, it's not the line, but one of
But
the
it is.
main things, but it is actually, it's in the main, in the main part of my speech is the fact that, Clip, it's a UGC platform, have our creators that are not necessarily influencers. We don't care about their number of followers. We care about the quality of the content they're producing and their creativity, to be flexible around industries. I'm just putting that out on the table from the beginning so that there's no, oh, so are they going to post on their social media? Are they going to do this? And I'll be like, no. This is not an influencer marketing platform. I think the main difference is, first of all, in the number of followers. We don't care about that. The influencers have to have a number of followers in order to call themselves influencers because you are influencing your audience. Whereas a content creator doesn't need to have a specific number of followers. I think from my point of view, you don't even have to have a social profile. For me, a content creator is a person that has the creativity, the know-how, the skills to create high quality videos or photos, whatever you want to call them. Obviously, Clip is focused on videos, but the main difference is that the influencers will be focused on one industry, whereas a content creator will be definitely flexible to work for any kind of niche. We're talking about apps, we're talking about services, literally any industry that you think about, a content creator will be able to create the content for your brand 100%. Influencers have their own roles, of course. Their influence will be on their own industry. They're amazing at that topic. They know a lot of stuff, and then they can influence their audience. That's the main difference from my point of view. But we can definitely expand on this for sure.
Expand. I think from a marketing manager point of view as well, I would say is that the difference between the influencers and UGC creators is what is your marketing aim as a brand who uses them, right? So if your aim is to raise awareness, influencers is definitely, way to go because they have those numbers, the reach to reach those audiences that you would like to go for. But this is a little bit like what you would do with having an actress, a famous actress in a TV advert, right? So their face is selling the product. So there is an association of that person and their reputation, essentially. So as Maria mentioned, the reputation means niche as well, because they're known for something or they have specific knowledge about something. With user-generated content, as the name kind of tells straight away, is the user of the brand who creates the content. So it's not as much about their potential reach and who they have in their audience. Their audience is not really that important. Is a little bit like if we compared it to the whole actress situation in the influencer world, I guess these would be like your crowd people in the series, when there's like the people who are there and they have an important role, but they're not the main event. There are people who are there and using the product already, or obviously acting as if they were. So they're like extras. That's the word that I wanted to use. So the role of the UGC creator is going to be to showcase the product a little bit more in depth, to follow your script a little bit more, because they're not necessarily influencing their audience, as Maria said, but they're going to influence the audience that you are promoting your product to. So you are responsible for reach of that video. They are just producing marketing content, promotional content for you. So this, I would say from my background, the main difference is. And but I think, as Maria said, there's still so much confusion for brands, but even for creators who already produce content, but they don't actually know which one they are. And I think Ali, what would you say in the social media, as that's your forte?
Yeah.
What would you say the difference is? Because obviously there's more and more UGC creators on social media too. So how do you think they correlate together?
I think it's really interesting what you're saying there. I suppose from my background too, it's a lot of people I think didn't realize that they probably were more UGC creator than an influencer, or a lot of people were like, I do like blogging, but I don't know if like what niche I fit into. Then I'm like, no, influencer is different from then UGC. But I found even working with people as well as like influencers, yes, some of them are very good, but I feel like now in a roundabout way, black and white, I feel like it's kind of the not the death of influencers, but there's definitely a massive shift coming in the industry that a lot of brands now have felt burned in the past, especially when it comes to social media marketing, that they have paid influencer for their name, for their brand. They've got a story once posted, or they've got something crap that they're like, I didn't feel like they did me any benefit. So nearly that side of social media got completely like turned off. Whereas I feel like UGC is coming back and it's starting to level the playing field between, okay, now we've got talented people that actually, I was chatting to my friend about this the other night. It's like UGC now, even some people are starting to term it as like we're short form actors and actresses in terms of like an influencer, it's their script, how they say, how they communicate with their audience. But there's a lot of influencers out there, don't get me wrong, that they're fake followers. They don't have an engaged community. Their reach isn't actually that good. Whereas with UGC now, it's like, okay, these are actors that are putting that product specifically for the audience and not thinking about themselves. There's no ego in it, which I think is the big difference with it. The influencers, it's for them and what they need to sell, which sometimes for brands can make it trickier. And this is why I'm so much more, I agree with you that like there's certain areas, like if a brand really wants a face of their brand, use an influencer. Whereas if you want to kind of create like that awareness piece, those informative things, trending things, UGC creators are like win-win for it. But there is so many now UGC creators coming out, as we all know too. But I kind of love that in a way, because then I'm like, as I said before, it levels the playing field that people have to be good and they have to keep getting better. So like, whereas with an influencer, they can get lazy. They can be like, I have 100k followers. I just need to do this or that. Who cares? Don't know. Doesn't matter. Whereas a UGC creator, I personally feel like are now starting to become more valuable to businesses, because they can actually prove, I use this framework, this is the kind of script writing, I know it works, I'm the audience, and it's less for themselves and more for the brand. So I think that would be my jumbled way of saying it.
Also money. I mean, the difference of the costs
budgets
and
are big different.
the potential risk of actually, as Ali, as you mentioned, being burned by ridiculous amount of money that you pay to a massive influencer, or even medium-sized influencers. I think is the difference between that and using platforms as Clip or UGC in general. It's just such a massive jump. So I think if I was a startup owner or brand owner right now and didn't use UGC at least once to try it out, I would consider myself a fool, honestly, because it's like, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's right there. It's one of the cheapest options that you can go for at the beginning, and then play around in the whole, paid advertising world a little bit more. So you have more money to play around on that, to actually figure out your audience, to figure out, where you want to post that content, rather than putting all your eggs in one basket for that person to post about it once and just hope for the best, basically. It's just, I feel like crazy.
Yeah, I feel like you've mentioned a really good point there too, in terms of like, for us all business owners, in my mind, I'm like, you will want to get the most out of your money. So like, if you're putting everything into that influencer and you're not happy with it, be a little bit more strategic. Like ads now, we know are so powerful. Instead of getting them to post to their audience and hopefully getting a reach of say 50 to 100k, why don't be specific, guarantee that you're like, right, that's a UGC ad. I will put that on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok ads. I have a script that I know that's getting my key points across. I have my call to action. So I've got a plan. I've got a funnel for people to actually go through, for them to check out to buy a product, rather than, oh, I'm going to send you my product, I'm going to pay you a big sum and let's see what happens. And that person has no strategy in place. So I think too, it comes back to UGC creators too are taking that marketing approach more than an influencer would, in terms of like, they know the key things to sell, they know like the problem solution theories, they know like, okay, psychology is a big part of selling and like what way to go about it. And this brings to it, I'm just thinking, my mom, because like if she's ever describing to people like, oh, what does Alison do? She's like, she's basically a salesperson for products. And I laughed at this because I was like, no, I'm not. But then at the same time, I was like, wait a minute, I guess in a way I am. And it's a new form now of marketing, of selling, that you're constantly thinking, okay, these products. And once again, I keep reiterating, it's not about me, it's about the product, which I love. Because then even for a UGC creator like myself and yourself, Nicola, it takes out of it that pressure for like, oh, I have to act a certain way with my audience, or they're not used to me being like this, so I can't do that. Whereas when it's just black and white, this is a product, this is like the brief, this is our target audience, you can then tailor that and have the freedom to it. And I also feel like we all are just like we mini little actresses and actors doing weird shit every day. We're like, today I'm doing this, today I'm doing that. Like yesterday I was sitting outside drinking wine, sparkling wine. That was my UGC. I was like, okay, it is what it is. I'll get on.
I was on Monday afternoon. I was drinking margarita at 12 p.m. and I was like,
yeah. What is this life?
What else can I ask for, honestly?
Yeah, on top of the fact that you're already paying the influencer to post one thing on their social media, sometimes you would go for the story just because it's cheaper, right? And it's only 24 hours. And then you have 24 hours, coverage.
Make all the impact.
Yeah, exactly. And then if in those 24 hours, there's less people that would usually see a story for that influencer, you're screwed. Like, we had some quite nasty experience with influencers. I still love influencers. They definitely have their own part in the marketing strategy as a business, for sure. But 6-7 years ago, more than that probably, and we had this influencer from Australia. She looked amazing on paper, right? She had 1 million followers, 7% engagement rate. It's crazy for 1 million follower influencer. And we paid her 1,500 for a post. We got nothing, not even a follower, not even a purchase. I purchased this already, like out of the window, but not even a follower. Like, it was so bad. Bad.
Why do you think that was? Do you think that she didn't angle it the right way, or what? Or were you just like it wasn't relevant to her audience? Or it's so interesting though.
It is so interesting. I think at that point, the trend with fake followers starting to come up. So I think it was just a combination of the wrong time, the post, the fake followers like trend. Maybe the angle that she has done the content, but then again, the influencer chooses how to create the content, right, around the brand, so you don't really have that control. Whereas with the UGC, you pretty much have that control, and creators, from my understanding, from both of you at least, love a script just because it is different. It's something that, okay, fine, I have the script, I know what I'm going to talk about, and that's it. The brand is going to be happy. But obviously, if the brand doesn't really have a script, then they can give some talking points, whatever, and then the creator will talk with them about the script. So it is more about what you want as a brand, what you want for the brand to be, how would you want the brand to be exposed, do you want to talk about just one key feature of the product and just double down on it? Fine, the creator can do it, whereas with the influencer, they will just take the product and be like, this is the best glove that I ever had, blah blah blah, and then that's it. There's nothing much in for it, plus, I mean, obviously, if you're an influencer, you will have editing skills, and you will have the knowledge and know-how, pretty much,
people to do it.
Yeah,
True, teams. They do have teams,
exactly, or teams. But I feel like that your creativity is not there 100%, because you're just doing this for the show, right?
It's for the payday.
Yeah, also, I think when I do appreciate influencers' role in the digital marketing space, 100%. If there's a budget to play around with for a bigger brand, it's a great way to do it. I mean, we've all seen it. We all bought a product influenced by someone that we aspire to, you know, that we look up to. But it's so confusing in the marketing world, especially for startups, SME businesses. It's very confusing for them because as a marketing manager, I found it really confusing when I had little to no budget to work with in the first place. And then the client would be like, and we want a big influencer. And I'm like, well, this is not going to happen, first of all. Second of all, do you really want to put all those all those eggs in one basket?
Yeah.
But the most confusing thing to me was the niche itself. Because, yes, if, let's say, hypothetically, we've got a meal boxes delivered, right? Then it's like, if you're a brand, what influencer do you actually send the product to?
Mm-hmm.
First initial thought would be food bloggers, right? Well, that's probably the worst thing you can do, because if you send it to them, all the followers, they know that all of this is paid, and all you do is posting about things like that.
And they'll turn off and they'll not interact.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No. So if you go for, I would probably in that mindset go for lifestyle blogger, you know, like mummies, UK mummies, whatever, this type of, right? Because it's a little bit more, but then again,
Hidden.
you're going for something that is more general to get your specific product across. Or for that money, you can actually create a content exactly as you, Ali, said, exactly what you need with the script or the key points that you want to have included, and have all that extra money to play around on your socials, on your paid advertising.
And target the people.
If you break it down, it's actually the audiences of all these influencers that you go for are still there in the paid marketing.
Yeah.
They're still there because, let's be honest, you're still going to do paid marketing as a brand, and, you know, side by side to the influence marketing. You will. Mm-hmm. Sooner or later, you will dip your toe in there. And when you do, you're going to be like, well, we've reached the same people for much less with the UGC creator video than we did with the influencer, and so many people, so much more people, you know, for the same budget.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important in your strategy as a brand for that to understand that your budget and the strategic thinking about it is just crucial. You can't, you know, we don't sometimes realize how much playing with money is involved in that digital sphere. And I feel like influence marketing is the biggest Russian roulette you can play digitally.
That's such a key thing. It is Russian roulette, yeah. And I see, for me, even me, like working within an agency and stuff too, I genuinely felt the creators that created content that didn't have these big numbers, the content was way better because they were willing, or they didn't have that, like, what's the word even for it? Like, they didn't have that platform already, so they still wanted to prove themselves, and it was more they're crafting their art. Yes, and it's like UGC creators, it's like you're constantly crafting your art of, I want to make a better video, I want to be looking better, cleaner, more professional. Like, there's always room to improve. Whereas when it comes to influencer marketing, they don't have as much to prove, so it's just not going to. And plus too, I think you said a very good point too there, Nicola, the fact that a lot of influencers too, once they actually get products or whatever, it doesn't take long for a follower to quickly be like, they just do ads, I don't care, and you lose respect very quickly. So it's really risky, I think, for influencers once they get to a certain level. They obviously, which is completely fair, but some influencers will take anything. Others, who I will then trust more and value more, will only take a select few kind of like gifted or like paid deals and stuff. And you can tell, because I know I use this product, I don't work with that many brands. That would be my advice to businesses. If you have someone who's in your niche and like, you know, that they love your product already, they are that great one, because then those people will have the passion to make good content. It will sound and feel so much more authentic, rather than someone just like, oh, look at this I got, or like, oh, I'm loving this, and people like, you just got that in the post this morning, how do we even know you do? So it's just completely different.
Yeah, and then we didn't even mention the cost that you would have to also pay for the rights of using that content in paid ads, or any, you know, marketing channel that you want, because every single time you're going to use that, you're going to have to pay the influencer, and then some of the influencers will also ask for a percentage of the conversions that their video or whatever post, whatever it's the content, they have generated. So,
but in that one, I suppose too, I feel like though, when you're saying that, UGC is starting to go that way, I think, with people that not specifically they're wanting conversions, but creators are starting to realize, okay, like, I'm making X amount of sales for this brand. Like, I personally feel like there will be a shift coming, that that's going to be the new type. But I feel like if that does, it's more warranted, it's more fair, because then I feel like, okay, if you can prove it,
organic.
Yes, if you can prove it's going to work and you're going to get payoff, why would a brand care as much? Whereas when they don't know and it's just like Russian roulette, you're like, what's going on?
Yeah. This
exactly.
is the thing as well. It's like with, I guess a couple of, now we have a conversation about like influences versus UGC. A couple years ago, I think the conversation would be macro influences versus,
Micro.
yeah, exactly. So I feel like back then it was a conversation about, the engagement, yes, but most of all the authenticity and the audience trust, right? So this is the main thing. And I feel like the micro influencer world kind of turns on its head a little bit as well, and a lot of these people actually realize, oh, I'm actually a UGC creator.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because that's what I would, I guess, consider myself back then. And now it's like I do still sometimes make deals with brands that I'm going to post on my socials because I have a couple K followers. But, for them, it's like, actually, we still want you to do it, and you can have the affiliate program or whatever, because your audience is like your friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that organic way. And this is what brings me to the point that this is like the conversation that we would have a couple of years ago, when it was like, go for micro influencers because they're so much more engaged with their audience. They're speaking with them, their families, even if if you think about it, even if it is just like word of mouth situation in your marketing, it's still what can happen with UGC too. And even if it is just that, that channel, that is another channel for you to make those potential conversions and turn potential clients into clients. So it's just so interesting and mind-blowing, the shift in the industry, and what's about to come. Like, I'm so excited to see where this goes.
Okay, we talked about the brand's perspective and the budget and what they're going to get out of these two different paths in marketing. I feel that for influencers it's a lot more pressure to deliver something, just because they need to show the numbers, conversions, impressions, reach, blah blah blah, right? So you, on top of the fact that you need to create the content, you also need to deliver that content so that the brand will come back to you and work again and again. Whereas with the creators, they just do the content, give it to the brand, and that's it.
It's a nice sign off. Like, there's no, unless it has to be like a word change or edit and stuff. But this comes back to like another episode we'll talk about like brief building and stuff. But I think it is, you're completely right. Like, everyone knows where they stand. They're like, you provide X services, I want those services, let's work together, kind of thing. That it's just a lot more. Yeah,
definitely. And I think one of the biggest like anxieties for our generation online is the bloody algorithm, right? And I feel like influencers try to fight this so much, and the responsibility on their shoulder to deliver, fighting against the algorithm all the time. That is another point when I was like, actually, I'm still going to be posting and I'm still going to grow organically, whatever, but I am not going to conform to this horrendous algorithm that's just impossible to understand. And I'm saying that as a marketing manager. If any marketing manager out there is telling you that they've cracked it,
no, it's lies. I personally, it drives me mad when I see these people on social media that they're like, this is how you get a guarantee a viral video. This is my strategy I use every single time. And I'm like, you might have a strategy in place that it's like wee bits, but there's no way you can guarantee it every time. Like, it's not an algorithm too. Like, we all know, like, it changes so quickly and things are, and to be honest, I've nearly like took the approach now as a social media manager to like stop caring, to be honest, about it. And I'll be like, if there's a trending sound or something funny within my niche or within my businesses or my client's niche, yes, we'll make something for that. But at the end of the day, I'm sticking to the marketing strategy of what works for that. And that algorithm can go screw itself, to be honest.
Yeah, but it is a big stress point for influencers. And I think if it is a stress point and you are in that micro still group, of numbers, or even if you are higher up, but you're just tired of the pressure, then I think UGC sphere is definitely for you. Because I think a lot of people, as we mentioned at the very beginning of the episode, is kind of in that limbo in between. Like, who am I? What am I? And I think a lot of it blends together as well. But I feel like as long as you keep those identities separate to make it a little bit more clear, I think before we mentioned that a lot of UGC creators are going online now and they're creating their own communities. And if you think about it, it is kind of like influencer marketing, but they're doing it themselves for themselves, right? So some of them will blow up and they will gather massive audiences just teaching other people how to do UGC. So if you break it down, it's kind of the same situation, right?
Same but different, yeah.
And I think if you decide to be UGC creator, but you also want to have perhaps your separate little aesthetic niche situation going on that you're posting, you can still do that, but without that pressure, because you can still make money. We're talking business here, right? You can still have your nice, pretty things on your socials where you kind of get your own creative thing, because I know for a lot of people, scripting can actually be quite challenging too, to kind of get into that mindset. And I think this is a perfect field for you to then play around if you do prefer this or you do prefer that, or you actually want to have those two separate digital identities going on. You have the brand facing one that shows, that sees your professional skills. I guess a little bit of like, business from the front, party from the back situation. So whenever someone sees you, that's the part of you that they see. And I think that's cool because influencers can't do that. Imagine they wouldn't be able to have those two online identities because they'd probably get cancelled.
Yeah.
Before we end this topic, I have a question, because I think there might be a lot of creators out there that might have this question in their mind. How would be the shift for a micro influencer to become a content creator? How do I go through this process of becoming a content creator? Because obviously I know how to create content for makeup perspective, but if I were to make a video for an app, what's the trick? What would be your guidance?
I would say, first of all, if you're a micro influencer and you have an account, say for example on Instagram or TikTok, and you're wanting to go into UGC and test the water, but you're not sure about completely moving across, I'd first of all say like probably make a new account to have your portfolio, or else pick up products if you don't want to maybe have it, because as we said, you don't need to be in social media, but it'll help. Go pick up some products that you really like in beauty or whatever and start making videos and playing. Also go on to Facebook ads library, search some items and have a look at what other people are doing and use that as inspo and like take pointers from it. So for example, for me, I will, if I'm scrolling down and I see ads that I really like, I'm like, that was smart, the angle they took, I'll save them for inspo, because then later on, because I'll be like, I want to come back to this after. So I would, if you're wanting to test it and you're wanting to like properly, I suppose, do it, like I'd have an account so you can have your portfolio, but it's not a necessity. But start looking at other videos first, then start making your portfolio yourself with things that you have in the house. My next one then would be start then actually applying, like for example, go to Clip. It's quite nice to actually apply to it. You do your introduction video and you have to put up some inspo videos that you have actually created to prove like, have you got what it takes to become one? But after that, then just keep practicing and getting better. And it's actually so easy to make the shift into it, because you once again don't have to post this stuff in your socials. So you don't have that bar of entry of like, oh, my people are going to be like, why are you posting that? It's straight into it. So I think for me, what do you think, Nicola?
I honestly think if you are a micro influencer, there is a massive chance that you already recorded loads of videos, product focused. Perhaps there's no voiceover over them. So I would say go through your best work and perhaps add to it. So if you've got any edits that you're happy with, perhaps all you need to do is just add a voiceover over it. That's going to change the whole dynamic of the video.
Yeah.
So just build upon the content that you already have. If you are a micro influencer, you've got that content bank 100% somewhere. So, as Ali said, your Instagram is already your great portfolio. So it most probably will be easier for you to actually jump ship rather than starting from the scratch, because you already have been online. You already had your face out there. Now it's just growing those little more specific skills for UGC that you probably didn't necessarily need for your social media before. But I do agree that platforms such as Clip makes it all safe, makes it organized. If you're a little bit of like an, tick off the box kind of gal or boy, then that's definitely for you too. You're going to enjoy the platform so much. But mostly it's the safety, it's the community. You're going to get the feedback, which is so needed when you want to make that change. So these would be the two main things. Get on the platform and go through your content and build upon that.
Yeah, and we will nurture you. Like, that's what me and Nicole there's for, is like, if there's anything we can advise or things that you do good, or if you're not sure, like, that's the point of us too, is like, we want to give back feedback, valuable feedback that you can improve and get better and better, that it'll just feel easy after a while.
All right, yeah, makes perfect sense, and I think people should because I feel like there might be a lot of micro influencers out there that might want to shift, just because, I don't know, they feel like, it's draining, it's just, I don't know, getting boring, maybe, just to focus on one niche. So they might be afraid of doing this step, just because, oh my god, it's overwhelming, there's so many industries that I need to cover. I think that's if I were to be a micro influencer, to shift to a content creator, I think that would be my main concerns. But as you said, just start small, go through your content, you surely have something in there, and then try to mix it up, and do voiceovers, and then on Clip we have Ali and Nicola, who can definitely encourage you to go through this step and getting better. And
but also, just a quick one. So, platforms like Clip, it also allows you that sort of smooth shift as well, because you are the one who actually applies for the jobs that look good to you. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to jump into, I don't know, health industry or accounting industry. You don't have to pretend to be a physiotherapist. You don't need to do any of that. You can just go for makeup jobs whenever it comes out. Don't push yourself to make it work all at once. Focus on one little area, because you've got some expertise already. So use it wisely to basically kick off in the right way, and then focus on the areas that you want to explore more to get more expertise as you go.
Yeah, that's such a great point, actually, because you don't have to jump into the unknown from the beginning. You just gradually take it day by day, project by project. So if you're a micro influencer, or even an influencer in general, we don't really care, but you want to shift into more industries, feel free to join us. We're more than happy to go through your portfolio, check it out, and if you're accepted, more than happy to guide you through the journey if you're unsure, or if you have any challenges. Yeah, that's pretty much for today. I think it was an interesting topic. I'm 100% sure we'll probably dive into it. Exactly. So that's not an end to it. Right. If you have any questions for us, just let us know. Pretty much anywhere, email, social media, we're everywhere. So happy to get your questions or topics, ideas, or anything that, stories that you want to share with us. Anything, just let us know.
Bye.